next one is all about calories.
Pardon himself. The massive inferno at an apartment complex, visible for miles. The flames so intense they cracked neighbors' windows. Newly revealed, the second 911 call from that Central Park confrontation, the new charges she now faces. Just hours left for Prime Day deals. Will the online sales boom during the pandemic spell the end of Black Friday? And the final mission, our exclusive access inside this historic launch.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening. As President Trump, claiming immunity from coronavirus, hits the road for another rally this evening, back home at the White House, First Lady Melania Trump is breaking her silence about her own diagnosis with the virus and revealing for the first time the couple's son, Barron, had tested positive for COVID-2. The virus shadowing the race for president with under 3 weeks to go. Tonight, on what was supposed to be the eve of the second presidential debate, the candidates instead are preparing for separate but opposing televised town halls. Jeff Bennett has late details.
First Lady Melania Trump tonight detailing what she calls her personal experience with COVID-19, revealing in a statement that 14-year-old Barron Trump tested positive for coronavirus. Naturally, my mind went immediately to our son, the First Lady writes after learning that she and the president contracted COVID-19. She says Barron initially tested negative, but the teenager was tested again. The results, positive. She says her son had no symptoms and has now tested negative. As for her own symptoms, the First Lady says they were minimal, though they hit me all at once, and it seemed to be a roller coaster of symptoms in the days after. She says she had a cough, body aches, headaches, and was extremely tired. Unlike her husband, whose symptoms were more severe, Melania Trump did not go to the hospital and did not receive the same course of treatment, choosing instead what she calls a more natural route, relying on vitamins and healthy food. The president late today speaking to reporters.
Barron's fine. We're heading out to Iowa, and we have a big rally.
President Trump on the campaign trail tonight as he and Joe Biden both make a play for more senior support. Polls showing the president's standing among older voters slipping, in part due to his handling of the pandemic.
Well, he throws super spreader parties at the White House. How many of you have been unable to hug your grandkids in the last 7 months?
With NBC News announcing today that President Trump will take part in a town hall event Thursday with Florida voters in Miami, moderated by Savannah Guthrie, the same time that Joe Biden will be participating in a televised town hall of his own. The two were supposed to hold their second debate Thursday, but the president dropped out after organizers announced it would take place virtually following his COVID diagnosis. And NBC News said today it received a statement from the NIH, including Dr. Fauci, concluding with a high degree of confidence that the president is not shedding infectious virus. Lester?
All right, Jeff, thank you. Troubling new warning signs tonight about the pandemic and the number of cases rising in dozens of states. Some areas now running low on ICU beds as a drug company CEO discusses the timing of a vaccine. Our Miguel Almaguer has more.
Tonight, as the troubling number of new COVID infections soars across the nation, 1/3 of our country is now reporting some of its highest case counts since the start of the pandemic. In Oklahoma City, there are no open ICU beds. States like Utah, with a dangerously high positivity rate, on the brink of crisis.
But Utah is now facing its most dire episode yet in this epidemic.
With the number of Americans hospitalized in Midwest states like Iowa hitting new records, the nation is set to soon break 8 million confirmed infections. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has pledged $125 million to fight COVID.
The rest of this year will not be normal. And, the sooner we deliver that somewhat bad news to people so they can get ready for what will be a tough fall, the better.
According to a new national survey, most Americans are worried about social unrest tied to a COVID resurgence and elections. 52% already have or plan to stockpile food and other essentials this fall.
We have a full bag of rice just in case. Lots of sardines, a few things like that.
While there are some signs of progress, this week brought setbacks for both a vaccine and an experimental COVID treatment. Eli Lilly pausing the clinical trial after a safety concern.
Some Americans are worried that vaccines and treatments are being rushed to market. What do you say to them?
We are moving as quickly as we possibly can. Maybe to reframe the question, they might be worried about is, are we skipping steps to rush them to market? And the answer is no.
In another sign of how resurgent the virus is, states like California are asking families to stay home on Halloween. Cities like Beverly Hills are outright banning trick-or-treating.
With Dr. Anthony Fauci advising families to think twice about mixing with anyone outside their household for Thanksgiving, tonight measures are being taken to avoid another deadly wave of infections. For Sabila Khan, who lost her father 6 months ago today, the holiday brings heartbreak.
The idea that he died alone is something that will haunt me for the rest of my life.
Tonight, a reminder of what's at stake and what so many families have already lost. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
On May 27th, reported COVID deaths in Wisconsin peaked at 22. After that, the number dropped. Maybe the worst is over, some thought. Then the fall hit.
We thought we dodged the bullet, but lo and behold, here we are on the 1st of October. And this virus has come back with a vengeance, and we're in deep trouble.
On Tuesday, a new state record, 34 reported deaths. The nurses at Aspires Hospital in Wausau bear witness.
People are dying every night, and there's nothing we can do about it. This virus is just beating them, and we're doing everything that we can.
We've had several people come in here and be very sick that all they did was want to see their grandparents. I'm a grandparent. I would like to see my grandchildren. This is larger than that.
8 months into the pandemic, a nurse in Green Bay worries public support for them is slipping.
Seeing multiple deaths, multiple days in a row, it's really hard to try to stay positive when the community itself isn't really got your back. They don't believe it exists. They don't see what we see.
Health workers repeating the same advice, hope it may finally sink in.
I ask you, as the public, to wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance.
Please just wear a mask, socially distance, do whatever you can not to catch this.
Today, a 500-bed field hospital opened to take the strain off the system. It's the same one Wisconsin decided it did not need to open back in May. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
Let's bring in senior medical correspondent Dr. John Torres. John, there's a heated debate right now about how to end this pandemic. The big question, whether or not people should be exposed to the virus to develop immunity. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Lester, there are two ways of achieving herd immunity. You either vaccinate people or you let people get sick, and if they recover, they develop immunity on their own. Some within the medical community are now suggesting, well, it's time to let the virus spread freely and for the disease to run its course. But history has shown us that this approach could be devastating and deadly, and many health organizations are strongly opposed, with the World Health Organization even calling it unethical. Lester?
Dr. John Torres, thank you.